when I went to New York for a week. I stayed in, and that was a new place in Florida, but we went and visited the old areas too, the old hotels and things.
Yes.
So
Well, I
that,
love when you find old Florida because inevitably you find haunted locations. And I went to Cedar Key and stayed in a hotel there. And when I walked in, they were like, "Would you like a haunted room or a less haunted room?" And I said, "Well, as long as they're quiet because I'm tired and it's been a stressful drive. My car got hit by tire trash, so they
you
better
say,
be quiet."
well, do
So
we have the? How about I'll take the evening ghosts over the morning ghosts, right? Yeah, no, I'm not a morning person. So
right,
which wing is that? You know, when I stayed in Montmartre Cemetery, it's kind of literally built smack dab up against the hotel that I was staying in. So it literally like it was connected to the wall. You could look in
right,
it. So I had a cemetery view, and I was going there specifically to visit Madame LaLaurie, our most known ghost in the South, Delphine de McCarthy LaLaurie, who I wrote extensively about in my book,
mm-hmm,
Hauntings, Horrors, and Dancing with the Dead. But she escaped from New Orleans after a dreadful fire that exposed the atrocities and tortures on her slaves. She escaped to Paris to never return alive, at least. And she lived and died in Paris. She was in Montmartre Cemetery for the proverbial year and a day. She was exhumed, and she was eventually sent back to native soil in New Orleans and buried somewhere here. Her ghost has haunted the ghost house on Royal
right.
from forever, as well as many other ghosts who have lived in that house, lived and died around there, and some that were there before the house was built, because that happens too. So I was in, even then, the hotel was part of the cemetery. The cemetery was part of a continued paranormal investigation and research about our most known ghost, Madame LaLaurie.
So no one knows where she's buried.
Well, it is assumed that she was buried in a family tomb in St. Louis, one that was built earlier
Mm-hmm.
that year by her son. Interment records cannot prove that she was actually deposited there, but I did go and double check at the cemetery in Paris that she was exhumed from there and shipped back. So that part is all true. And when she came here, some early rumors or gossip, or whatever you want to call it, but to oral history between locals say that she might have been buried, taken out of there because of, people not wanting her to be there, and
Mm-hmm.
brought to like a friend of the family's private place in another area of town or outside of the city proper. So there's several options. Now, I have felt that night in that lovely hotel was not fun haunted because of her. After that, it was okay.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
like the entire power of the entire lovely hotel went out right after I visited her too. I forgot her offerings. I was running. It was about ready to close. I went in. I'm like, darn it. I didn't have it. I said, sorry. I came back. As soon as I came back, the whole hotel went out. I stayed out all night. We're stuck on the other side of town. We couldn't get back a cab for 8 hours. It was just like a miserable night. And then the next day, that night, up until daybreak, horrors were going on. And the next day, I went and brought her offerings, and then everything was nice. I ran into her spirit there. I went to the church where her funeral was, the house that she lived and died in. I went to Poe, where allegedly she was attacked by a wild boar, which led to her demise. All there, including the ghost house on Royal locally. I have met her spirit, heard her spirit, seen her spirit. I have done exorcisms on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different people that she has done a little bit more than attached, got in really deep, and had to do some drastic healings on. All of
Oh
those
my.
places, I have seen, felt, or heard her spirit. And the cemetery, the tomb at St. Louis, no pun intended, is just dead. You know, there's just like
I'm glad that
not.
pun wasn't intended. But
Well,
yeah.
it just is, yeah, flatlined. So why everywhere else and not there, which tends to make me believe the rumors. And I've gone to the alleged place, which I'm not divulging, where she is buried to try to find her name or to find her records. And I haven't done it yet, but I will.
You will. I have no doubt.
So yeah, you know, I spend time and energy with our local spirits, the good ones and the bad ones, you know. And of course, I love Marie Laveau, following in the footsteps of New Orleans Voodoo. I believe she to be one of my spirit guides, and she's also, of course, a great spirit watcher over the city of New Orleans herself. And her tomb is still the number one visited tomb in the country, even though they have closed the doors to the public and made you pay to get in and outlawed offerings and the X's, which were a way to open the crossroads. Even all those things have changed the last 3 years. Yes, 3 years ago.
Gosh.
That was part of that entire change that I said something was up. It was bigger than just the tomb being painted pink. Yeah, they outlawed all that, and she's still the number one visited tomb, and she's still giving out her miracles and is a folk saint. So, you know, changes are happening, and she was letting me know, but it's still going on. And, yeah, we have lots of spirit energy, and I definitely go out of my way to research, to connect, to open up to the spirits and to the people. And I've been talking about that and showing that and investigating that in different ways on shows about New Orleans for, over 24 years or so.
That's just
hundreds
amazing.
of different documentaries. And I've got way more information than ever gets on camera, you know, that gets whittles down to sound bites. And unfortunately, some of those sound bites become frankenbites, and then they take your answer and you answer you just another question. And people go, why did you say that? It's like, I didn't say that. They made me say that. And, you know, that it's so frustrating. I try to talk a lot so people cannot snip out little things to reuse easily. I'm not going to cut down my flowery speech so they can reuse it anymore. It's hard.
But your speech is one of the best things about you. Whether you're giving a tour or showing somebody something in your museum or whatever you do, your style of speech is so distinct. It's just distinctly yours.
I am a storyteller.
You are. You're definitely
a storyteller, and it was the power of words is forgotten, but the whole concept of a spell to enchant. All of these things are about the power of the words. It's just about song. It's about the tonality and the words that when you tell a story. And this also helps open the way for the spirits. They want to come hear you. They want their stories to be told. And I will tell a story and I will say something. And once in a while I'll go, where did that come from?
Right.
Not much anymore, but 20 years ago. And then, or somebody will say, well, you just said blah, blah, blah. And I'll say, I didn't say that. And then three people go, yes, you did. And I'm like, oh my God, why would I say that? I don't know that. And the next day, somebody bumps into me, brings me a book, brings me an old newspaper, brings me something to validate what I said, which is not known to the public. So in that way, I'm transmitting the words of the spirits during the tours because they're listening and they want something else known. They want a different aspect of it shown. And I will say things just like when I was a kid. Things will happen and then I'll go research and find them. Not that I find things and then try to recreate them. I am spirit-led and I talk as the spirits too.
Yes, you do. I just love going out with you. And
you have to come more often, and I love going out with you because you're just so. Don't take this the wrong way. You're so open and innocent. It's meant to be a compliment. I mean, you're eager, you're open,
I am eager.
You're letting it come through. You've got a very young attitude about things, a non-judging attitude, like you want to soak it all in. You have an infectious attitude about how all these things are going on and that you just want to be a part of it. It's just, it's beautiful to you, which is nice.
Thank you. I love it too, because I am fascinated. And
it's not about ego with you.
It's what?
Not about ego with you.
Oh, no, it's about learning. and it's about seeing who is still there and what they might need and what I can learn from them. And I love learning from you because, I don't know, it's just really fun for me to experience you. When we went for the first time to the cemetery, you know those women from New York are still my friends and still follow me.
Yeah.
So that was just such a great bonding experience. And I just enjoyed every minute of it. But that was my first time to go out with you. And, you wouldn't do my show until you met me.
I think we did my ghost town tour, because that one did cemetery. It did a ghost hunt. It did a ghost tour. It did a fort. Yeah, we did a little bit of everything.
Yeah. Went to your house and met the snake, which was really funny because I wasn't really trippy about that. And I must have died by snake bite in a past life because I won't even touch pictures of them. And yours didn't faze me.
That snake is now a ghost in my house.
Okay.
And it attached to a guy a couple of weeks ago, and he freaked out, and he was like, I can't move. I know there's a ghost behind me. He's walking into the bedroom. His other friends are already in there. It's like, oh my God, I'm so cold. He says, I feel it. I know there's a ghost behind me. And he kept going, do you know Danny? Danny. I'm like, no, I don't know a Danny. I got a dozen ghosts here, but not a Danny. Yeah, Danny. And then I was like, oh, Danny, that was my snake. And he's like, oh my God. He goes, I cannot believe that. I'm usually so afraid of snakes, but not this one. You're like, a lot of people say that. And now his spirit's with me, and I'm sad that I lost him. But his
I know
spirit
you are. I'm sorry.
It's okay. There's a lot of pet loss last year, and several of them has popped up as ghosts, especially my cat. Yeah. My old lady cat that I've had for a long time. She follows me. She's been seen by many people at the museum, here at the house, walking down the street. She was my baby in life. She was my familiar, and she still is.
What do you do when you lose your familiar?
I guess you get another one. But you lose a piece of you, like you do a loved one. I mean, but their spirit is still with you. You have to be patient. You have to get over the loss. You have to wait. I couldn't bury her. I knew she was dying and she was old and there was some weird stuff going on. I had dug a hole and I was ready to go bury her the next day, and I just couldn't put her in that hole. Call me weird or whatever, but I have her stuffed in my altar area now. I have a box of her bones, and I have her heart in a bottle at the other altar. And she gave me, and the taxidermist did this, I can't believe it. He said, I found this in her and I want you to have it. He pulled out a tiny, beautiful pearl. She gave me a pearl. It was a calcification inside. When people say you have stones or not. Hers was shiny like a pearl. He goes, oh yeah, she gave you a pearl. I looked it up, cat pearl. They exist. So my cat gave me a pearl and I carry it.
Okay. That is way too cool, but we've got to go to break and we've got to get Justice. So
okay, cool, yes. Justice, my co-author, the wonderful photographer from L.A. The other L.A. besides the Louisiana.
But we'll be back. I'm going.
Okay, I'll see you one more time. And my ears are going crazy with that thing.